The 2021 season is a big season regarding the Buffalo Sabres. So many questions, such little answers, and in all honesty, it's a do-or-die season. Now, we're going to preview what the heck's going to happen for the Buffalo Sabres in the 2020-21 season from my perspective. First off, if you're a new member of the channel or you are a Buffalo Sabres fan just stopping by, welcome. If you haven't already, please go subscribe to the channel. I mean, it would mean a heck of a lot. Trying to get to 600 subscribers, I mean, it's really just a grind in all honesty. You know, someday get to 1,000, maybe make money off of this. That's kind of a childhood kid's dream. I mean, I'm 13 years old, so I guess I can have a childhood kid's dream. But yeah, one subscriber could really help me out with that, and we are only 14 away at the time of recording this video from 600. Also, if you haven't, please go check out the links in the description below, which includes Twitter, Instagram, Discord, and TikTok. I almost said Twitter again. And yes, I do TikTok. So yeah, you know, I got more followers on there than I do here. I do fun series on there as well. But, you know, the main reason why I have all those media is because of this. So, I mean, if you haven't already subscribed, that's the main thing that I want to happen. So, thank you all. Anyways, let's get into what occurred last season with the Buffalo Sabres. Last season, depression. 69 games played, 30 wins, 31 losses for 8 overtimes for 68 points, 25th in the NHL, and they missed the playoffs by 3 points. Or no, sorry, they missed the play-in round by 3 points. That's the closest this Buffalo team has came to at least a grasp of playing in the playoffs. They have not had that since 2011. They have missed the playoffs the past 9 seasons, and I'll put a statistic up on screen right now because that is up there. And I made a video about 11 months ago. Actually, it was almost a year ago because I made it in like early February, late January, and that's actually almost coming up pretty soon. So, you know, I made a video on the longest droughts in NHL history, and I said the Sabres could potentially break that record. I think with missing the playoffs, I think they're second. I think they're tied for second in that entire list. So, Sabres fans, that's not really something you want to hold yourself to, and honestly, if everything goes right, you could see them making the playoffs this season. But nonetheless, it's a tough division you're playing in. Now, although their departure list is pretty high, none of these are really things that are going to affect the Sabres necessarily. Now, I'm going to read off all the names here. There's a total of 10 names. They lost 10 players, but they gained a lot of good players in return. So, you know, none of these Sabres fans are really going to be mad about, and you shouldn't be mad about them. So, key departures. Mike Ruffalo left Buffalo. It was time for him to go, in all honesty. As well as that, Marcus Johansson, however the heck you want to call it, was a part of the Eric Staal trade. Dominic Cahoon. Sabres fans are pretty mad about him leaving for like the amount of money that he left for, because the Sabres, I think, paid him the same amount of money for that, and he just didn't sign with them. Johan Larsson ended up going back to Arizona. We covered that 2 videos ago. Wayne Simmons headed off to Toronto. Jimmy Vesey, I can't exactly remember where he's at now. And Vladimir Sobotka. Those were all your departures. Really just minor players. Wayne Simmons was a rental. Vesey did not do well in Buffalo. Sobotka, not him either. The only person you can be mad about there is Dominic Cahoon, in all honesty. I think that's the only person in that list I would be necessarily mad about if you're a Sabres fan. Now, as well as that being good, they also acquired some very good assets. The big boy, Taylor Hall. Now, Taylor Hall, a very monster goal scorer for the Devils, the Oilers, and I guess the Coyotes. That's a subject I don't want to discuss. Taylor Hall, a very good offensive player, left wing, something that Buffalo definitely needs, and they're just struggling to put up the offense. That's the one thing that really struggles with them. Like they have Jack Eichel, Olofsson. You have all these good guys. I think Taylor Hall is that one piece that can really put him over the hump. Eric Staal was acquired in the Marcus Johansson trade with the Minnesota Wild. The Eric Staal trade was a very good trade. Eric Staal is a very solid third-line center. He will play good minutes in there in Buffalo, and he's really going to help out that team. Cody Eakin as well, probably a fourth-line center in all honesty. I look at him and I'm like, yeah, I think I would put him in the fourth-line area. I mean, you could put him wherever the heck you want, but he would be in the fourth-line spot for me, at least. Moving on to the one, the only, the thing that takes me the longest to do, the projected lineup that I have him personally. Now, I have it sorted by left wing, center, and right wing for offensive side of things. If you want to go for defense over goaltender, that's later in the video. I have defense sorted by left D and right D, and then goaltender is pretty self-explanatory. So, left wings. You have Taylor Hall on that first line. Jeff Skinner on that second line. Zegmas Girgensons on that third line, and Tage Thompson on that fourth line. I also have Burrow and Smith as those fill-in guys, or depth players. Taylor Hall, I think he will definitely be on that first line. I think that goes without saying. Jeff Skinner will play pretty well on that line with whoever's the starting center. It really depends, in all honesty. Girgenson's a solid third liner, and Tage Thompson is Tage Thompson. So there you go. And then Smith and Burrow, depth players. In the center side, Jack Eichel first. No surprise there. Now here's the complicated thing. I'm going to take the lineup off screen for a second here and just say what I have here. So Dylan Cousins I have in second line. And then I have Eric Staal in the third line. Now, I think that it could be very competitive. I think I could see Eric Staal playing on the second line maybe to start off the season. Cousins playing third line minutes. But they may even push for Cousins to play second line for a little bit there too. If Cousins does well, he will play second line. But if Cousins doesn't do the best as he should be, he'll get moved down to third. So it really, in all honesty, depends. I think I could see Staal or Cousins on that second line there. It's really just a battleground there. Cody Eakin on that fourth line, nothing changes that. Rusas Stalainen, I think I said that right. Oglevy, DiPietro, Jean-Sebastien Day, and Casey Middlestat as your fill-in or depth players. Just in all honesty, I think Middlestat will probably get the crack at that. Sebastian Day too. I really like Day as well. So, that center core is actually pretty good as well. The right wing side is actually not that bad either. Victor Olofsson, I could argue with this too. Let me just take the list off screen. First line is Victor Olofsson. Second is Sam Reinhart for me. I could see Reinhart playing. I see Reinhart pushing first line. Although I do think Olofsson will probably start that there. But I could see Reinhart pushing first line. Okposo and then Tobias Reeder from the Arizona Coyotes. Good God. And Picard and Fogarty as your depth players. So, this team in the offensive side of things is much better than it was. You have much more depth players. Your center core is so much better than it was. Yeah, this is looking really good if you're a Sabres fan in the offensive side of things. On the defensive side of things, as I said, I organized them by left defenseman and right defenseman, so let's get into this. First line, Rasmus Dahlin, no surprise there on the left D side. Jake McCabe is at second. Anders Pilut as that third. And then Samuelson, Bryson, and Davidson as those depth players. Dahlin getting better and better every season. Everyone says he's overrated, but I think he's doing actually pretty well in Buffalo. Jared McCabe has showed us that he can play very good second pairing minutes. And then Pulut's Pulut, just like Thompson's Thompson. And, you got Samuelson, Bryson, and Davidson as your depth players. Right D side, Ristolainen. Let me just take the board off screen here. Ristolainen will be on trade rumors for the rest of my life. I'm just going to say that right now. Ristolainen has been in trade rumors for almost 2 years now. For as long as I can remember. I remember this one Calgary Flames player. I cannot remember who it is. Got injured. And I was like, ooh. I put the pieces together like an idiot. Ristolainen in Calgary. Nah. That was a year ago. So, the trade rumors back then were much more interesting. You have Kevin Miller and then Brandon Montour as that third defender as well. On the depth side, you have Yoki Haru, Matt Irwin, another player they signed a free agent I forgot to mention, Borgen and Casey Fitzgerald as your depth players. So, the defense is actually looking not too bad as well. It's really just Dahlin and Ristolainen, and then the rest is like, alright. So McCabe and Miller is not too bad. And then Montour, I really like Montour, even though he's giving me headaches. And Anders Pullett as well. So, Sabres fans, that defense is a bit risky, apart from the first pairing, but, that's really the only thing to be worried about besides the goaltending. Oh, boy. So the goaltending, you could argue, is one of the most hardest things for Sabres fans. Your first goaltender is Linus Ullmark. Your second goalie is Carter Hutton. Dustin Tokarski is that third goaltender. And then you have Johansson and Luukkonen as your fourth and fifth goaltenders. Ullmark. Ullmark, I think, does get underrated at times. In all honesty, I think Ullmark is a much better player than people profile him to be. Carter Hutton is not that bad. He just has Carter Hutton's let in a lot of bad goals. And then Tokarski came from the American Hockey League, and then there's the other 2 goaltenders. So the goaltending really, all in all honesty, it really just worries me because like when you think of all these good starting goaltenders, you think of these guys like Anaheim's John Gibson, Boston's Tuukka Rask, Philadelphia's Carter Hart, Pittsburgh's Tristan Jarry or Matt Murray, whichever was in your prime, Martin Jones or Aaron Dell for the Sharks, and then there's just Linus Ullmark. And, like, that's just not really a well-known name, and it's really just a name where you're like, he doesn't really get a lot of slack. And, I mean, like, Buffalo is not the most talked-about team in the NHL, though, so that could play a huge role in it, but Ullmark, not a huge profile goaltender, and I think he does get underrated at times, but, you know, Sabres fans will disagree with me on that. And finally, the moment we've all been waiting for, will the Buffalo Sabres make the playoffs? This is interesting. As I said at the beginning of the video, it's going to be a do-or-die season, and it still is. If these Sabres fans don't get another taste of hockey for at least maybe 1 or 2 more years, it's not going to look good. You've already lost a lot of fans. I think the Dwayne call back in like, oh my god, that feels so long ago, but like that call that Dwayne had that called into that Buffalo sports radio and was like and just went off on the team. You can't let that happen again. So, you know, that's management's part, though. This team needs to make the playoffs within the next 3 years. I don't think they'll make it this season. They're playing in such a competitive division with Philadelphia, Washington, Boston, Pittsburgh, so many other dangerous teams with very young goaltenders, and you just look at these goaltenders at Buffalo and the defense and the offense in some aspects, and you look like, can this team still sustain success? And that's the worrying thing. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below. It's going to be interesting. I think Buffalo Sabres fans do think they may make the playoffs, but it's going to be very close, if that. I do believe this team does the right stuff. They can make the playoffs, but yeah. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and please go subscribe if you haven't already. We're trying to get 600 subs by the end of the year. Thank you all for the constant support, and I will see you guys in the next video.